Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Mars. One day on the red planet. Yeah, one day on the red planet. It's a sort of an unnecessary subtitle because, as much as I enjoyed this, actually, the it sort of puts a clock on this whole exploration of what Mars is, and it doesn't. To me, it doesn't seem to make any sense. That let's start at 5:30 in the morning and go to this place, and now it's 10:45 in the morning, and it's now we're in a different place. I mean, is it the time it would take to travel from one spot to the next on the planet? I don't know. It doesn't. There's not like a 24-hour clock. It's not like we're going up against um, a deadline or anything. There's no actual day because we explore billions of years in this thing. So yeah, it didn't make any sense to me. But hey, it's because there's probably so many different National Geographic Mars documentaries. Well, you have to differentiate yourself some way. So yeah, Mars, one day on the red planet. Like I said, National Geographic. It's an hour and 28 minutes long. Yeah, it's from 2020, so it's pretty recent, and it shows it because compared to a lot of the other ones that we've seen, which were great, this one is so much more beautiful. I kind of wish I had a. I don't have a 4K TV yet. Maybe I'll get an 8K. I just skipped to the 8K. I don't know, but I don't have a 4K TV yet, and I kind of wish I had a huge one that I could watch Disney Plus on and these National Geographic documentaries. Hint, hint. Yeah, that was a weird wink. Ooh, sorry about that. So yeah, it's kind of thing where it looks amazing. There's a lot of digital recreations, a lot of just beautiful artwork that's incorporated into bringing Mars to life because it's essentially a dead planet. Although I've one of the most interesting things I found about this, I found out about Mars and about Earth in relation to it and its people, is the fact that at one point we, as a as humanity, believed that there was life on Mars, without doubt. Well, maybe some people doubted it, but it was that era, early to mid 19th century, especially mid 19th century, early to mid 20th century, before we started shooting people into space and monkeys and stuff. That was the Russians, but shooting everybody off into space and probes and everything else. We had guys with telescopes, powerful. A guy with a powerful telescope looked into the sky and looked at Mars closely, and he saw stuff moving. And he wrote down and drew whatever he saw, and I mean, he literally did see things moving. But it turned out it wasn't what he thought. He thought he saw lush lands and cities, and it was all sort of drawn out of what he perceived as sort of his imagination went wild, and but he saw things that were moving, and really it was the sands, the earth that was moving due to the weather on that planet, um, and it's got some strong weather. It doesn't have much of an atmosphere, but what it does is deadly and it's dangerous. So, yeah, so at that point, people were just going off of what this guy was saying, and other people who were examining this kind of thing, and they fully believed that they were gonna at some point we're gonna send a probe with a camera or people from Earth to Mars to discover whole cities, or maybe just civilizations living in the wild in the jungles of Mars. I mean, that's where a lot of the stories from John Carter came from, which has inspired, by the way, pretty much every other sci-fi film and book that we've seen in the past century. Um, but yeah, John Carter of Mars, which is also on Disney Plus, and you kind of get an idea of where a lot of the concepts, even though it's a modern film, it's based on a lot of the original books and the concepts that came out of this belief that there were alien living creatures. We didn't know what they looked like. We didn't know what they were, how they would act. If they had a society. Did they have money? Did they have jobs? Did they have what were they like? How were they different? And it was until they sent a probe out there to take some pictures, and the first pictures that came back, which by the way took 8 hours a picture to get anything that was that looked anything like a photograph. They explained it so much better than I. Sorry. People were really let down. They were just like, no, it's a desert. It's literally a dead planet. There's nothing there. And so it was a little upsetting. Hopes were dashed. They thought they were going to actually meet aliens. And again, if you look at the literature from that era, books, comics, movies, everything was, there was a Mars craze that was built off of both fear and hope of what we could find on the red planet, our neighbor. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. I don't know why I didn't realize that. I mean, I realized that people wrote tons of stories, science fiction stories, and things about Mars and other planets, and aliens and things like that. But I never thought that we actually truly believed collectively that there was something there. Like we had a reason to believe. But I didn't realize we had a reason to believe that there was something out there. And that's what this really focuses on. It takes us back 4 billion years, and what that guy saw in the telescope, if he actually looked 4 billion years in the past, may have seen what he was telling everybody he saw. Flowing rivers of water 1.5 times the size of the Nile. So much other things, not water as we know it necessarily. It's different. Well, yeah, it has to be H2O to a certain degree, but it also has certain acidic properties and other things. I mean, for the environment in which it was, there's a lot of stuff. From being able to examine the planet through all the different probes we put out there, especially opportunity and curiosity in the last few years, the last few decades, and the new one that's Mars 2020. I don't think it had an official name, and this came out in 2020. So there's nothing really that says, hey, we did this. This is what we did. There's a lot of, toward the end of this, a lot of hopes and plans, and I don't know if I didn't really keep up with this, so I don't know if they actually ever got it there or not. I wasn't sure if maybe the pandemic slowed things down, and it's going to be, I don't know, Mars 2022. I don't know, because it's not really making the news right now. It's just other horrible things that are making the news constantly. I guess we're not really talking about Mars, so yeah. It's to me it's a visually beautiful. It's stunning to watch, and it brings up a lot of questions. It doesn't focus necessarily on our astronauts. I mean, toward the end, it talks about sending men to Mars, women, people to Mars, in a way, and they talk about how it would be possible to actually live on Mars or under it. So there's a lot of talk toward the end that says, what does the future hold? And they talk about how we're the generation between a single planet generation and a multi-planet generation. We're in the middle of that right now. And yes, we have Elon Musk and everybody else trying their hands at creating things that send us to Mars. And people go, oh, why are we bothering going to Mars? Is it really that necessary? I don't know if it's necessary. I don't know if it's like, oh my gosh, we should be feeding human beings and healing human beings more than getting to Mars. But in the process of creating technology that allows us to survive in hostile environments that help improve the human body, or at least buffer the things that the human body would encounter on a trip to Mars and living on Mars for a number of years, we discover other things along the way that can shape us, that can change things. The technology that has come out of space exploration has changed how we handle a lot of things. So I think it's really important that we continue to keep reaching for the stars, but it's important to realize that the things that we use, that we discover, the tools we create, the tools that we use to create other tools, helps change our world in various ways. And that's the exciting part. It's not just one thing. It's not just one vertical. It's not just one thing that's literally vertical that is closed off from itself. So planning a trip to Mars along the way has the potential to change so much for humanity, whether it comes to energy consumption and in use to get these people to another planet, uh, the energy, the power, everything like that. That right now takes a lot, and it takes a certain type of fuel to get us there. But along the way, we keep finding other ways to make it so that it is not so difficult to expend so much fuel. Along the way, we could be discovering. There's always talk about this, that we'll discover another form of energy or create another form of energy or make use of energy in a different way that will make space travel easier and can be applied to how we get around at home. Yeah, we have electric cars now, which we didn't have so openly many years ago. I had a friend who was all the time he worked at a hydroelectric engine, and he was sure the government was just trying to keep him from ever doing anything. But yeah, I mean, and that was like 30 years ago. But we have our technology is constantly changing, and it's in no small part due to our space exploration. So yeah, that's a long way to say that, but hey. So yeah, I really recommend this. I enjoyed it, and yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Mars documentaries on here, and if you want to see some retro ones that go all the way back to the 50s and 60s, check those out too. It's a really neat contrast because there's a lot of animation in those, of a very different kind, and they're mostly focused towards kids, but this shows that it's really appealing to all generations. This one. They don't talk in big, crazy scientific words. They do speak in an enthusiastic way. These are excited people. These people who live and breathe Mars as their career, their lives, everything. They're passionate about it, and they show that. It comes through in the film, and it's something that I think if you have a passion for space exploration, I think you're going to find kindred spirits in the people here, in NASA and JPL and everybody else across the board. I wish I could name them all that have taken part in these explorations to another planet. I know this right now. If somebody watches this a 1,000 years from now, which would be crazy, it might be not such a big thing. Like, oh my gosh, this guy's making a video about getting to another planet. We've been to 27 of them by now, or 1,000 of them by then. It'd be no big deal. But here we are in the Stone Age, in super ultra low res 1080 HD video on YouTube, whatever that is. Ancient communication tool. Anyway, let's pick tomorrow's episode.
338.
Not going far. 338. Huh. Well, you know how I said yesterday's was just on the edge of Marvel? Well, there's a lot of Marvel stuff on here, and this is one more, and I don't know why I don't know what this one is. Weird. It's another reality documentary type thing. It's a kind of a behind the scenes of Marvel, but I'm not sure exactly who it focuses on. It's Marvel's Behind the Mask. I imagine it's a real thing, that it's not something that was mistitled or added incorrectly, but we'll find out. If it's not on here, I'll be right back in a second. And if it is what it is, I'll see you back here tomorrow, talking all about it. Marvel's Behind the Mask on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow.